This audio presentation of Who Am I by Lillian DeWaters is brought to you by audioenlightenment.com. Copyright 2014, all rights reserved. Anyone who is able to understand and to accept the beauty, simplicity, and true interpretation of being as found in this book will inspirationally feel as if he had written it himself. The message of the Absolute. The answer. Behold, it is I. I come to reveal yourself to you and to give you understanding. To you who are still seeking to find the end of seeking, I come, I am here. Today, many are wondering why they do not accomplish more through their study and prayer. Reader, are you one of these? Do you ever question, why does not God, the truth, heal me entirely? Why am I not quickly brought into prosperity and success? Why must I wait longer? To you I come, I am here, and my reward is with me. In the book of Hosea, 11th chapter, 9th verse, there is found a simple statement of tremendous import to all, a premise upon which to establish understanding, as upon a rock which is solid and sure, absolute and supreme. Here in this verse is given the perfect answer to the age-long question, who am I? Listen, I am God and not man. I am God and not man. When one is quickened to comprehend the depth and breadth of this statement, he has found the end of seeking and searching. He has come face to face with himself as he really is. The question now is, who or what is the I, which is God and not man? If one believes this I to be located in the skies, he is deceived. Likewise, if he believes the I to be some presence or power outside or within himself, he is deceived. In any case, he is accepting the I to be one identity and himself another. Verily, this is the root of all sorrow, namely the belief in two minds and two beings, God and man. Forever the eternal fact remains, I am God and not man. I, who am I? The reason why one has not known the correct answer to this question sooner, and so found the true solution to the problem at hand, is because he ever thinks from the mistaken viewpoint that he is not the one identity, not the one life, not the one being, but another being called man. So long as one believes himself to be someone beside the I, never can he understand the truth of being. Believing that he thinks, lives, moves, and breathes, not as I, the one being, but as another, he is without vision. Since I am life, I am truth, and I am all. And since I am God and not man, then it necessarily follows that man is not life, man is not truth, man is not I. I, who am I? I am the truth, I am the life, I am the I, the only me. I, who am I? I am the first and I am the last. I am without a beginning or ending. There is none else. Tragically enough, however, if one does not know and identify the I as the perfect self, but with an assumed personality or mentality, he lives in mystification and ignorance. Assuming another identity, he becomes weak, sick, poor, and limited in every direction. Moreover, his whole existence now becomes a search to find himself, to find truth, to find love, peace, and immortality. His one idea now is to become what he really is, to become strong and well, rich and prosperous, happy and satisfied. Never, oh never, can anyone truly realize his hope to be well and happy, prosperous and satisfied, so long as he identifies the I with anyone but me, the one alone. I, who am I? I am one's real and only identity. I am one's true and only selfhood. Behold, I who speak to you am the I. True identification. Identified with man instead of with me, one's only selfhood. Unwittingly, one is identified with personality, mentality, humanity, mortality, with birth, age, sin, limitation, death, with fabrication, fable, fraud. I am the Lord, that is my name and my glory will I not give to another. Isaiah 42:8. The name of the self is, I am that I am. The name of the self is truth, life. I am I. Never finding sufficiency nor anything that is permanent or perfect in man, but instead continually finding ignorance, fear, limitation, and every sort of trouble, One prays for help to an unknown God, a supposed being somewhere outside of him, or else somewhere within him. Verily, until one extricates himself from the tangled web of fabulousness and comes to himself, comes to know the answer to the age-long question, who am I? Never can he experience the wholeness, purity, freedom, harmony, and bliss which he seeks. Truly, one's only release from the belief in material existence is to turn the truth itself and from all that is contrary to it. Therefore, begin now. Stop identifying the I with man, for he is not I, the self at all. Seek no longer to save, heal, or redeem him, for so long as one in any way identifies himself with man instead of with me, the life, truth, and way, he is destined to limitation and incompleteness. None is good save one, that is God. None, as man, can ever be perfect, whole, or complete. Seest thou this? The secret of secrets, the pearl of great price, is this true identification. Whom say ye that I am, God or man? Is there a God beside me? Yea, there is no God, I know not any. Is there a life, a mind, a being that is not I, but another? Is there a life that is not my life, a mind that is not my mind, a being that is not I, but man? Reader, are you identifying the I with man, image, idea? Are you identifying yourself with mentality, metaphysical student, reflection, or thought? Cease to identify yourself as anyone but the perfect, absolute selfhood. There is no I, man. There is only I, self. There is no I, imperfection. There is only I, perfection. There is no I, image, I, idea, I, reflection, none whatsoever. Identified with I, life, truth, effortlessly, and in the twinkling of an eye, one may see himself to be that which he really is, and function as I and not man, as mind and not idea, as being and not student. The self is never man. The self is ever I. Truth is never man. Truth is ever I. I am never man. I am ever I. Man is the name given to appearances, which I am not, nor could be. Therefore all attempts to purify or regenerate him will never satisfy, never free, never fulfill one's burning desire to be the perfect, the real, and the true. Listen, there is but one God, one self, one I, one life, one being. Therefore, for anyone to believe that he is another, such as image, idea, expression, man, is for him to be self-deceived, and thus at the mercy of his own misconception. To illustrate, every time one seeks to change or spiritualize his thinking, he is unwittingly identifying himself with a personal mind. Furthermore, every time one attempts to heal his body or of discord or disease through some kind of thought or prayer, he has ignorantly identified himself with perishable flesh. So long as one ignorantly assumes the I to be where it is not, never can he find himself as I am. Never can he find wholeness, immortality, peace. Therefore, I am come. I am here. Hear ye me. Finding oneself. Reader, from which position are you functioning? From that of a man, the individual, or from that of the one I am? This crucial question requires everyone's sincerest attention. From the standpoint of the individual thinker, the seeker after truth, one looks toward the perfect. One seeks to overcome difficulties by the application of his knowledge of truth. To this end he treats, prays, thinks, reads, and studies, ever hoping to gain new light and understanding. On the other hand, from the position of the one I, ever aware of its perfect ideas and manifestations, as all and the only, one knows that perfection is the ever-present fact. Can you see that from the position of the individual, one can never become aware of perfection or infinity at hand, as all there is? Always he is continually striving, never arriving at that which he seeks. Dear reader, do you long with all your heart, soul, and being to function in and from the perfect state, and be the perfect consciousness, thus leaving the false assumption position forever? Then listen carefully. Such prerogative is yours, and your destiny is to fulfill it. Draw a curtain now between you and everything which keeps you in the position of an individual looking toward the heights. Such steps pave the way, but finally one must look out from his position as the One, instead of looking up toward it. Just how shall one leave the position of man, the seeker, entertaining beliefs of limitation, discord, imperfection, difficulty, to take that of the I Am, to whom no such consciousness is possible? Verily, verily, one cannot function as the I through any particular process of thought, either mental or spiritual, nor through any longing, no matter how intense. There is absolutely no way for the individual thinker to be transported or translated into that of the Self or I Am. Why is this so? Because the position of an individual thinker is not a true one. So as long as one remains here attempting by any process of thinking, treatment, or behavior to arrive at the Self, his efforts are futile and in vain. When one reaches the point where he is compelled to renounce all effort, seeing the utter futility thereof, then within this total negation the light dawns, the Self stands revealed and spontaneously exclaims, I am come, I am here. Assuredly, as long as one believes he is one of many individual thinkers, he cannot function in the one selfhood. Thus there must come a reversal of perception, which is, I am not in any personal consciousness. I am perfect being. Never have I departed from it, nor need I return to it. No book nor illustration shall be sufficient to cause one to make the transition from the position of bondage to that of freedom, from that of personality to that of self. At some point there must come a revelation or illumination which will give him the necessary insight and understanding that he is not a separate thinker at all, and has never been other than what he internally is, the I Am Truth. Countless numbers today find themselves en route on this special path, or that one, climbing this ladder, that one, in fact, using any means that might suggest transport from where they seem to be to where they wish to go. However, not until one is disillusioned, discovering that no path will take him, no means deliver him, no thinking bring him to his goal, no behavior unveil the mysteries, is he ready to lay down his life as a personality or seeker for truth, to receive the illumination that never have I lost, nor left my true place or position. Lo, I and the I Am are one. It is expected that as one treads the various paths supposed to take him to the place of the I Am, he will become disillusioned, for he will find that these paths are not the way. This very disillusionment will then promote his awakening, so that he arrives on the instant declaring, I am here, I am me. I have never been otherwise. I myself am the way. Inevitably, so long as one is engaged in looking, his search is perpetual and endless. Yet the looking is not altogether fruitless if he comes finally to the place where he completely surrenders all effort, struggle, and search. At this point of his extremity comes his great opportunity. Like a man waking from deep slumber, his eyes open and see. His ears are attuned and hear, his integrity is restored, and he knows the truth. I am that for which I searched. I am that I am. How utterly impossible for anyone functioning in the dream of personality to ever know the absolute truth from this standpoint. Regardless how he desires to become perfect, he cannot do so. For how can anyone, believing he is another being, in another place, ever find himself where he actually is? Holy ground is always under one's feet, but until he functions in and as the Self, he personifies the unreal and untrue position of the separate personal thinker. Only in his truest state, as the one I, can he ever experience the perfection, power, and glory of being. Here to the illumined Self, perfection is established and at hand. Verily, only in the true position as the illumined Self shall one experience the perfection of being. Totality of the Self. Truth is not another being with whom you are to seek union, oneness, or atonement. Seest thou this? True instruction has but one answer. I am the truth. I am me. As an image, what can you do or be? As a reflection, what can you think or say? As a student, when shall you ever arrive? As a teacher, when shall you ever know? As a follower, when shall you ever become? Verily, the blind lead the blind, both to fall into the ditch which they own make. Thou shalt have no other gods before me, no other instruction, no other leader nor teacher, no other way. I alone am the truth. I alone am the way. Worship nothing and no one but me, the one and only me. All the while one seeks for reality, heaven, peace, all the while he labors to become healthy, wealthy, wise. He is the perfect right where he stands, yet knows it not. He needs to lose ignorance, darkness, and deception. Then he wakens as from a dream to exclaim, there is no road nor path to perfection. The self is here and now and alone. The only paradox is ignorance. Believing himself to be another, not the one he really is, one sets out on an endless journey to find himself. Of course, on his journey he is never farther away nor near. At any moment on his travels he can say, I need go no further, I am here. Quest and search have no end until he seeks, finds the one whom he is seeking to be, his own reality, his very own self. Where is the master? Where is the student? Where is the teacher? Where is the disciple? Verily, they are no part of me, the self. They all pertain to man. Is the I located in India? Is the I embraced by some particular church, organization, or doctrine? Where is the I found? The I is found only in I. Some may say, I am not yet the I. I will be when I realize it. I will be when I make union with Christ or demonstrate over my problems. The voice of eternity reverberates. I never knew you, with or without any proof, with or without any demonstration, with or without any overcoming. I am that I am. No seeking nor searching in the wilderness of man will ever be enough to find me. No personal surrender or renunciation will ever be enough. No personal demonstrating or tearing will ever be enough. No personal spiritualization or regeneration will ever be enough. Lo, there is not enough of all the device under the sun, nor enough of all inventions of human thought to satisfy the craving for enoughness, except I am I. Therefore, think it not sufficient to be at one with me, nor value atonement as your goal. There are not two of us. There is but one I, or us, one selfhood. This is totality, all. I am the reality of the one called Mary. I am the reality of the one called John. I am here. I am there. I am everywhere the same. I am the infinite and universal. I am totality. I am all. The self alone is. How ignorant and foolish any attempt to acquire or obtain one's own self. This self is ever present. This self alone is. If the self were to be attained, then it would be absent now, and in this case, truth would need to be created, an absolute impossibility. Ask yourself, who am I? By the words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. Matthew 2:37. It may be said, I am here, seeking right thoughts and right judgments in an entity called man, image expression. Daily I strive to do certain systematized thinking, so that it will demonstrate for me, but often I become weary of tense and discouragement results. Or perhaps it is said, I am a student, continually striving and struggling to obtain what I know I should have. I yearn to achieve my good, to attain or possess it. I look but never find enough. I seek only to discover that nothing at all is permanent here. At the end, everything lacks permanence. Everything ends in death and separation. Still another may say, I am earnestly trying to become at one with the Christ mind. I try hard to live in harmony with God. Sometimes I call out to him as though he were afar off. Again I seem to feel him close at hand within me. Oh, how can I contact him so as to be well, strong, happy, and prosperous continuously, to be unafraid, free, full of power and glory right now? Dear friend, do you ever ask such questions, and have you now any such longing and desire? Lo, I come. I am here, the one you seek. Closer am I than breathing, near than hands and feet. Listen closely. The mistake from the beginning until now is to identify the I, which is life and consciousness, with another being called man. Really, you are not separate apart from me, nor other than I am. Aware of the truth of being, you can say, I am the truth now. Yet until you see this to be so and identify with me, not with man, never can you think as I, feel as I, or experience as I. So long as you believe yourself to be another and not me, you place a veil, as it were, between you and your reality. Thus your experience becomes imperfect and incomplete. For instance, while you call yourself a metaphysical student, a follower of some particular personality, a seeker for light, while you think of yourself as an image, idea, reflection, you are in ignorance of yourself as you really are. In darkness one cannot see truly. In sleep he is not aware of things as they really are. Operating in self-deception, one fabricates another entity which never belongs to him at all. It is this false identification which is the root cause of all discord and sorrow. You can say I, can you not? This I is pure consciousness, and not any image at all. This I is the very truth and not student. This I is the God-self, and never idea, man, or reflection. The self is here and now, the alone. Wholeness, harmony, and perfection are already complete and finished in this perfect self and being. Therefore, why not believe? In the false, assumptive position which one ignorantly takes, nothing is ever permanent nor complete. Here there is, and shall ever be, constant struggle and strife, longing and lack. Yet right where one is his deliverance, if he but renounces the false identity he has assumed, and joyously identifies himself with the true self alone. As for man, his days are as grass, as a flower of the field, so he flourish. For the wind passes over it, and it is gone, and the place thereof shall know it no more. Psalm 103:15. Let God be true, and every man a liar. Let God be your only identity, for the man position is a lie from its beginning. Behold yourself as you really are, the perfect and not the imperfect, the free and not the bound, the sinless and not the sinful, God and not man. Never is the self man. Never is man the self. The self is ever I am ever the self. Self-realization. There is but one I, or us. To you who read, are you identifying yourself with this I or with another? For instance, are you identifying your thinking with the perfect self, or do you claim identification with another mind which you hope to spiritualize in order to have more prosperity in your daily living? Do you call yourself a truth student, but not the truth itself? A follower of the light, but not the light itself? Emphatically and undeniably, one's truth identity is not with student, but with truth. Not with I shall be when I become, but with I am now. Not with atonement, with I am I. Verily, to deny this is to assert a selfhood apart from God. To label oneself student, follower, reflection is to remain in ignorance, and so to perpetuate self-delusion, virtually to deny me. For I am none of these, seest thou this? Why expect as an idea or expression to accomplish anything that has not already been established in your real identity and perfect selfhood? Truly, the crucial question for each to answer is this: with whom am I identified? Whom do I call myself? Reader, do you see the grave difference between a seeker of light and light itself? A seeker seeks because he believes, I am not. Light knows, I am. Be still and know that there is no identity but I am I. It is written, Jesus identified himself with the God I. Moreover, he told us to keep his saying and follow him, promising, where I am, there ye may be also. As long as one identifies himself with manifestation, man, he can never bring himself to say and know, I am the light of the world. Cease your endless quest. The time is at hand. The hour has come for your awakening. Take my name upon you. Learn of me, and have no other instruction before you. Consider Jesus, the light of the Bible. Did he teach that he was a student, idea, reflection? Emphatically no. Did he teach that he was individuality man? No. Then why follow any other teaching? Lovest thou me more than these, more than any of these contrary teachings? If so, then speak aloud, I am the truth, not a student. I am the light, not a seeker. I, not a follower. I am that I am, not man nor expression. Make yourself heard wherever possible. Whosoever will, let him come. Come and identify with me and with me alone. Call no other your soul. Call no other your mind, thought, body, world. I am all of you. I am your only reality. Preach the truth as I. Speak the truth as I. Know the truth as I. Is there any way other than I? I know not any. Seek no further for a way to me, for whilst you seek for me, you are turning from me. Whilst you look afar off, you cannot see me. Whilst you think, you cannot hear me. Cease your looking, seeking, thinking, striving to become what you are. I, your perfect self, am never absent nor distant from you. I never fail. I change not. I am the able to do all things. Nothing is impossible to me. All power is given to me in heaven and in earth. Verily, thou cannot be another. I itself, I. The inside and outside, the what and the why, the when and the where, the low and the high, all I itself, I. Dear reader, can you see now that one should not presume to separate the I am into parts or distinct entities, calling one mind, another spirit, another life, and so on? I am one complete and indivisible whole. Not yet aware of the importance of the spiritual demand and prerequisite, unwittingly one places attention upon divine mind, for instance, as the source of true and right thinking, life as the source of immortality, spirit as the true substance, and so on. Even such high vision as this veils the majesty and sovereignty of the soul. Does the self say, I have perfect mind, I have perfect thoughts, I have perfect expression? What does the self say? The self said, I am that I am, all. Does the self say, worship mind, worship spirit, worship principle, worship consciousness? The self knows, I am self-complete, I am self-contained, I am the indivisible whole. For instance, a rose has petals, but do we give attention to the petals or to the rose? Naming the self, principle, mind, spirit, and then directing attention here prevents the full and complete vision of the self as above all, consequently often delaying one's experience of complete harmony and freedom. When one has a rose, he has all the petals also. Similarly, when one is identified with the self, he identifies himself with mind, principle as well. Verily the self, as the whole, is omnipotence, omniscience, and omnipresence, self-contained, indivisible, self-complete. If I be lifted up, believe no longer I must overcome, I must demonstrate, I must pray. Identify yourself with me and believe. I am perfect, I am free, I am divine. If I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men to me. John 12:32. Do you yearn for me? Do you look and search for me? The place wherein thou standest is where I am. Say not I am thinking, working, laboring to become. Say I am come, it is I. Lift up the I as the first and the last. I am the light and the effulgence. I am the promise and the fulfillment. Ever I am yours, and ever you are mine. Ever you are I, and ever I am all. I decree, and it comes to pass. I will extend peace like a river, and glory like a flowing stream. I have not gone, nor have I come. Ever I am, without beginning or end. I am the Lord, that is my name, and my glory will I not give to another. As in light there is and can be no darkness whatsoever, so in me there is and can be nothing physical, nothing human, nothing mortal nor perishable whatsoever. If I be lifted up from the earth, the Red Sea vanishes, and dry land takes its place. Neither can any Jericho walls withstand me, nor can age, war, limitation, or death associate with me. I give you health, I dry your tears. I fill your purse, I give you peace. Whom have you in heaven but me? And there is none upon earth to be desired but me. Your flesh and your heart faileth, but I am the strength of your heart and your portion forever. The fact is, I and yourself are identical. There is no difference between me, yourself, and the truth. Are you reading and talking about the one divine self, yet associating with another self to be spiritualized or redeemed? Answer thou me. How can you hope to ever reconcile such incredulous contradiction and inconsistency? To the extent that you cease to falsely identify yourself with another, you will find yourself to be I alone. I, blessed, majestic self. I, mighty, glorious self. I, all-satisfying, revealing self. I, all-perfect, free self. There is no teacher, revelator, light but I. There is one King of kings, one Lord of lords. This is I. Greater than the force of all human thought and words, mightier than the control of all powers, occult or mental, is my supremacy and omnipotence, one's very own. Attainment is not to be attained. Attainment is I. Perfection is not to be earned nor achieved. Perfection is I. Purification is not to be developed. Purity is I. Therefore, dear reader, can you see how foolish for anyone to believe that the surrender of his personal impurities or imperfections of mind, body, or affairs shall enable him to achieve the harmony and purity of being? Never will any form of sacrifice, prayer, treatment, or device deliver the purity, goodness, and wholeness which one so constantly craves. Why is this so? Such craving is the result of an age-long mystification, the mistaken conviction that one is man and not I. Only enlightenment and true identification can free from such dark pools of ignorance. Only I satisfy. Only I fulfill. Only I am the great answer. Listen, deliverance to purity, goodness, and wholeness cannot be accomplished by way of any mental attainment, acquisition, or achievement of any kind. Neither shall any powerful emotions, renunciation, or silence be sufficient to bring forth or to pass that which has been established and is finished forever and for eternity. Lift up the I. Seek me no longer among dead practices, outgrown teaching, ritualistic religious ceremonies. You can find me only as I am. I am the unconditioned. I am the unlimited absolute. I am one's very own. Fidelity. Looking to God as in the sky or as some other identity without or within prolongs one's journey in a far country, and thus postpones his deliverance, freedom, and self-realization. Only I am the way. Who am I? I am the I of you. I am the heart, soul, and being of you. As you cease looking to any other God and look to me, the I of you, as your only Savior, your only deliverer, then you shall have whatever it is you are seeking, whatever it is you desire, whatever it is you should have to be happy, to be free, to be secure. Supreme, unconditioned, peerless is the I of us all. Verily, the I is the Christ, the Savior, the King of kings, and the Lord of lords. The I is reality eternal. I, the identity which is all, which is self-complete, self-effulgent, self-contained, I. The teacher, the deliverer, the giver of all good, I. The Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Yea, I am all these things. I am the reality of all true life and being. O worship the I, the self of us all. Who or what can ever satisfy our longings and still our cravings but I, the God I? Who or what can lift out of dark places and bring to secret heights but I, the God I? Who or what speaks in the small, still voice, softens the heart and mellows the feeling but I, the God I? You who are looking to body, to thought, to mind, you who are looking to teacher, to church, to book, look now to your real self, the God I, and here you shall find completeness, perfection, all, even as in the forever. Only to the extent that one accepts and receives the truth of being, that oneness is the God I, shall he possess the kingdom prepared for him from the beginning of the world. None can rightly lay claim to it in any other fashion. Myself is my inspiration, my illumination, my revelation and light. Myself is self-revealing, self-supplying, self-contained, and self-complete. Look not up, out, nor in. In one's own reality he is none but I, the God Self, I. Is there any body, is there any thought, any mind, any self, but the perfect, all-glorious selfhood of us all? Then why consider any other body, any other thought, mind, or self? Look to the one alone as all in all, above all else, supreme over all, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. A new day, a new order of life has come and is here. Let the dead bury their dead, but look thou to the perfect self as your very own. For all those who are ready and willing to put away that which is imperfect for the perfect which is now come, the finished kingdom is at hand. The realm of the promised land is here and now. Certainly of that day and hour knoweth no man. I may appear to come as a thief in the night, yet I am ever with you, and will never leave you nor forsake you. Identify yourself with me, and you shall know peace and harmony, inspiration and light. Why wait longer? The One All. There is but one God, one life, one being, one I am. There is but one body, one world, one experience. The one is the real, the perfect, and the eternal. There cannot be I reality and I unreality, I perfection and I imperfection, I life immortal and I life material. Truly the I reality, I perfection, I all, is the only I that I am. Reader, ask yourself, do I consider myself this, I or not? From morning till night one says, I. With what I is he identifying? With I wholeness, harmony, or I sickness and limitation? With I creator or I creation? With I divine consciousness or I mentality? Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not identify thyself falsely or with the entity man. Thou shalt not believe that thou art other than I, the one and only selfhood. Since there is but one I, one life or being, then for you to be at all, you must be this and none else. Thou shalt not assume thou art another beside me. Thou shalt not seek for me, for I am your very reality and only self. Nor shalt thou attempt to become like me, for I am the only. Thou canst not be another. He who fails to understand his real selfhood falsely creates to himself another being, another mind, another body called man. Then here, in his darkened place, he attempts to heal his body of flesh and redeem his mind of wrong thinking. Continually he labors to bring about in this world the lasting peace, love, and harmony which belongs to him only in his true estate and real being. Never can anyone, by taking thought, put on the qualities and virtues which I am, who is sick, who is poor, who is at war. Not I, the true and perfect selfhood. Therefore all imperfection, frailties, and incompleteness pertain to man, who is not. As another beside me, it is absolutely impossible to have pure and true thoughts, to be perfect or complete. Seest thou this? Ever I call, put away all false identification, and take my name upon you, for truly I am your only reality. Look to me as to yourself, and look to yourself as to me. Inevitably then you will lose the false consciousness of us as two, and will find your true identity to be me, even as the divine self who said, "He that hath seen me hath seen the Father." The Father is the one and only selfhood of all. Thus I and the perfect selfhood Father are one. Stop thinking and believing that you are anyone but me, for I am the only real of you. All else that you see is not true, and appears only because you are not thinking and seeing as I, but as another. Renunciation of the false assumptive self is your only true surrender. My name, my power, my glory, my perfection, my selfhood, shall I not give to another called follower, student, image, reflection, man? Therefore be I, and none else. Outside of me you cannot be. The world of time and sense shall vanish. There shall be none but me, the one reality, the one entire. Self-revelation is one's highest goal. When he discovers that the perfect self is the only real, then his search for the truth of being comes to an end. After this, it is not a matter of search, but of expansion. The self is our way. The self is our kingdom of expansion. Self-revelation is our greatest and most precious joy. It can be constant too, since it is natural and innate. The one obstacle in anyone's way is false identification. Believing one has a separate mind, for instance, leads to another false assumption, that his mind needs to be redeemed, corrected, spiritualized, or improved. To this end, one labors with thoughts and ideas continually, every battling with depression, heartache, and disappointment, since all the thoughts he aims to acquire never prove adequate nor enough. Know nothing greater than right thoughts to be desired. However, one persists in affirmation and declarations about the truth. Happy indeed could the moment be if he would but accept defeat, insufficiency, failure, for then, in this place of total negation, man's extremity, self-revelation, would take place, and he would report the experience of a miracle. But alas, few come into this necessary place of surrender and denial, most often apparent defeat or failure, but spurs one on to even more powerful statements, and he endeavors even more determinedly to succeed in the surmounting or overcoming of the hard places in his experience. All effort is bondage. The basic error is the erroneous teaching that one is ideas, expression, man, instead of operating in the Christ consciousness, which gives no such instruction whatsoever. One's full power and supremacy lie within his own selfhood, eternally established, intact, and at hand. Thus inevitably the mind, body, and entity called man are to be lost sight of altogether, for they are altogether untrue and unreal. In self-revelation they are non-existence. He shall fly away as a dream, and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night. Thou carest for no man, every man walketh in a vain show. When the ignorance whereby the false identification is made disappears, only then the self is. Be still and know. Lay aside longing, yearning, struggles, and strife. Search no longer. I am here. I am the only perfect answer to your quest. Be still and know I am God. I am not one and you another. Be still. Leave all for me, your own perfect self and being. Let go all hindrance and obstacles, all other instructions and teachings. It is I, yourself, who answers your prayers. I, yourself, am your deliverer, your Savior, your source of every good. Who is so close to you as I, yourself? Who loves you as I, yourself? Who guides and takes care of you as I, yourself? To me there is no past to be remembered, no sins to be blotted out, no dark places to be exposed and surrendered. I, the supreme and eternal, see nothing but myself and my own radiant glory. Who convinces me of sin? Yea, the darkness hideth not from me, but the night shineth as a day. The darkness and the night are both alike to me. Light is all I see. Look away from personality. Look away from physical or mental remedies, ways, and means. Why beg or plead? Why make use of vain repetitions or emotional exercise? For instance, stop searching or looking for health. Health is never to be found this way. Health is not afar off, nor can it actually be found anywhere except where it is. Health is not the result of any prayer or treatment, nor indeed of any mental action whatsoever. I am your health. I am your wholeness without variableness, neither shadow of turning. To assume health to be in any way connected or associated with mind, thought, or body is the fatal error of all ages. Indeed, this false assumption consumes time, effort, and constant study, only to finally end in failure and defeat. Only when concern with this trio fades entirely out of consciousness shall the self remain supreme in all its beauty, splendor, loveliness, harmony, and immortality. Be still and know that I am God. Release yourself from all concern. Take ye no thought. Be absent from the body. Have no thought what you shall think, eat, or do to obtain healing for your body. How wonderful and supernal a self, not thinking in terms of mind, thought, or body. As portrayed in Genesis, even Adam was innocent of sin until he thought of his body. Be still and listen to this. Even to practice honesty, purity, loving kindness, in fact, goodness of any kind is not the highest practice nor the perfect way. Why is this? Because such practice pertains to man. Always man shall be inadequate, imperfect, incomplete. Regardless how he struggles and strives to make himself perfect, never can it be accomplished. What has a human mind to do with truth? What have all efforts to change or heal the body to do with the truth? Hear ye this, the truth is what you are, and not what you are striving to make yourself. All desirable and perfect qualities are native to the self, yet these shall never be experienced in their glory until one identifies himself with the self and no other. Any effort to get rid of a mortal mind will never solve the problem of being. Disassociating oneself from the age-long belief that he is another, and not the God-self, will prove the divine solution, the supreme reality. You may have heard the advice to still the human mind. I say to you, never can the human mind be stilled. The human mind is a fabrication, seeming only because one fails to identify himself with himself. The so-called human mind cannot be stilled either in a human or in a spiritual way, and every effort made in this direction will continue to prove futile, so long as one believes it to be an entity to be controlled, manipulated, stilled, or dominated in any fashion. The instant one associates with it, he believes in it, thereby giving power to that which has no existence at all. Should one then ignore it or seek to transcend it? Emphatically no. Any such endeavor but perpetuates self-deception, holding one that much longer in ignorance and bondage. The only way to still the human mind is the self-way. That is to know there is no such thing as a human mind to be stilled, to be conquered, or to be overthrown. Any belief in such an entity subjects one to confusion and arguments so long as the self-deception lasts. Give up the lie that you are another, not the one. Give up the deception that you are man, not God. Detach yourself altogether from such belief. Be still and know, I am God, and not man. Stir up thyself. When one identifies himself falsely, it is as though he placed a veil or mist over reality. This veil or mist can be penetrated and removed only by following the Christ, who unfalteringly declares, I am the truth, I am the way, I am I. Stir up thyself and awake. Psalm 35:23. Accept the stirring up if you need it. Mental sleep, darkness, ignorance, all these must and shall go to the extent that one ceases to identify himself with anything or anyone but reality, the indivisible, perfect whole. Now that which decayeth and waxed old is ready to vanish away. Hebrews 8:13. The question for each to hear and answer are these. Am I ready to let it be done? Can I take it? Will I turn from all teaching but that which agrees with Christ, reality, truth, which instructs, keep my saying, follow me? Wholeheartedly, determinedly say and know, I am the light of the world. I am the self-revelation. It is I. Verily, Jesus rent the veil of the temple in twain as he identified with the high and mighty one from eternity. No power nor might of man could withstand him, for he saw and knew that there was no difference between himself and God, between himself and I am that I am. The knowledge and language of the I is the new tongue. Reader, will you take it? Behold, I give power to the faint. I make a way in the wilderness. I have a way no man knoweth. I will set you up on high. I will wipe away all tears, all fears, all obstacles and obstruction. Who is so great a God as our own selfhood? Therefore I look and I behold. I take and I receive. I come and I believe. I stir up myself and shout from the top of the mountain. It is I, be not afraid. It is I, be ye perfect. It is I, come to me, attend to my words, be me and none other. I am the Christ, the Savior and Redeemer. I am the light, the way, the instruction. I am self-revealing, self-effulgent, self-contained, the all-sufficing one and only. Every good and perfect thing is of me. Supremacy, omnipotence, sovereignty, all are mine. I am the I which is consciousness. I am the I which is principle. I am the I which is spirit, life, truth, and all. Man is not a shadow of reality, for reality is all and has no shadow whatsoever. Man is an elusive, false state wherein one said, I am sick, I am poor, I am miserable, I am in limitation and bondage. I am in need of purification, regeneration, light, and resurrection. Jesus the Christ transcended the light received by Moses, who believed and taught that we are man, the image of God. Jesus knew his and our identity to be God and not man. Ever he proclaimed, I am from above. I and my Father are one. Follow me, keep my sayings. Verily, this crystal light discloses what it means to be born of God. Whosoever is born of God doth not commit sin. He cannot sin because he is born of God. In the transitional state, or until one clearly beholds himself as I am, he may pass through many steps from glory to glory. Finally, all steps in realization must and shall be swallowed up in the crystal light. I am he. I and the self are one. The true self is not made up of resurrections or regenerations, nor can anyone arrive at his true self in any such way, since truth is not the result of any kind of word, thought, or actions. Truth cannot be earned, achieved, bought, or won. No journey can take us to that place where you wish to go, no book, no church, no person, no exercise, no thing. It is imperative that you see this to be so. How can you obtain that which you already have? How can you be anyone but the only one there is? For this reason Jesus declared, I am the way. Oneself is the way. The way is in and of oneself. Stir up thyself and awake. The quickening spirit. Without spirit the people perish. Without spirit the churches perish. Without spirit the nations perish. The word without the spirit is dead. Power without the spirit is dead. Thoughts, prayers, treatments without the spirit are dead. It is the spirit that quickeneth. Verily, verily, that which quickeneth is the spirit, nor can anyone be quickened without the spirit. That which maketh alive is spirit. That which vivifies, inspires, and illumines is spirit. Spirit enlivens, empowers, and enthrones. Spirit is life, and life is spirit. I am spirit, spirit is I. The natural man, he who believes himself to be a person or individual, receiveth not the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness to him. Asleep to his true identity, how could one ever be expected to know the thing of his true selfhood? Neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. Surely, only as one identifies himself with his real being can he ever understand that which is true and that which is false. Wakened from ignorance and functioning in one's true being, one ever is and has the mind that is God. Identify with me, and spirit is at hand. Identify with me, and light and revelation are at hand. One's true self and being is verily the quickening spirit. The letter killeth, but the spirit giveth life. What is the letter that killeth? Vain repetitions, thoughts that are not my thoughts, practices that are not my truth, doctrines, system, creed, that are not identified with me. How can one hope to be receptive, inspired, or aware unless he is in the Spirit? Why expect to experience peace, security, or happiness unless one is in the Spirit? Why hope for a happy home or a life of harmony and companionship with loved ones unless one is living in the Spirit and being in the Spirit? Indeed, what are the riches of life but to think in the Spirit, love in the Spirit, walk in the Spirit, work and rejoice in the Spirit? When one is in the Spirit, he is spontaneously in rapture and glory and light and understanding, in faith, trust, and confidence. When is one in Spirit? When he identifies with me and ceases identification with the flesh and the things thereof. Spirit is located neither there nor here, neither without nor within, but is myself, I. How then shall I prosper? How shall I succeed and make good? Only by the quickening Spirit. How shall this come to pass? Put away the thought, I am not in the Spirit. I must take thought to be in the Spirit. The fact is, Spirit is one's very self and being at hand. Spirit divine, mighty Spirit, luminous Spirit, Spirit which gives, Spirit which forgives, Spirit which creates, Spirit which sets it not. Often it is said, get the spirit of the thing. When the Spirit moves me, then it will come to pass. Yes, these thoughts are based upon fact. Spirit lifts up. Spirit guides and directs until one is in the Spirit, in the understanding. He is virtually without hope, without ability or power of accomplishment. Right now, just where he stands, without moving hand or foot, he is as close to Spirit, as near truth as one with God, as he can and should be. He seek the truth the world over. Where am I, the Eternal One, the able to do all things? Where am I, the great Eternal, the everlasting Savior, Emancipator King? Wherever one is, there am I. If one travels to India, I am there, and if one remains at home, lo, I am there. I am wherever one is. I am not outside, nor am I within, but closer even than this. I am not one being and he another. I am not the truth and he the student. I am not the Savior and he the sinful. I am not the Creator and he the creature. 1,000 times no. There is but one I or us. Lay aside the false belief that you are any other. Turn to me as to yourself, and turn to yourself as to me. I am not in the skies that you need shout for me to hear you. I am not some intangible presence, unlocated, unnamed, and unknown. Cease your weary looking, your toilsome, heartbreaking effort to find me. Pronounce the words, I am that I am. I am I, and you have found me as where I am. It is I who say to you, arise and walk, come forth. It is I who make all things new. I make the crooked straight. I cause the valley to blossom as a rose. I restore the years that the locusts have eaten. I never leave you. I am with you always. I always hear. I always answer. I always fulfill. Never am I limited nor restricted in any way. Never am I afraid nor unprotected. Ever I am secure. Ever I am immune. There is none beside me. I know not any. Say with me, I am perfect, I am whole, I am strong, I am rich, I am unlimited, all things are mine. Say with me, I am happy, I am free, I am joyous, I am glad. Contemplate just one I, the I that is Spirit, the I that is perfection, the I that is Author, Lord, Self, the I which is the Indivisible One. Sin, sickness, and all forms of limitation and incompleteness are bound to continue to appear, so long as one identifies himself with a being other than I am. Yea and nay. Thoughts or ideas, no matter how greatly important they may seem, if identified with an assumptive mentality, are meager, infantile lisping compared with the thoughts and ideas of the Self, who is here and now and alone. Let your conversations be yea, yea, nay, nay, for whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil. Matthew 5:37. For instance, how can one ever hope to think true and perfect thoughts without first of all identifying with that which is pure and perfect consciousness? How can one ever expect to be free, to be in peace and prosperity, without first of all identifying with that which is spirit, the only real and eternal? As a self, one does not need to overcome nor demonstrate over this or that affliction or limitation identified with the perfect self. One need not repeat systemized formulas or meditations, go into silences, nor enter into any emotional practice whatsoever. That which is, and that which is not can never be. I, your perfect and divine self, am ever present. Believest thou this? Then identify yourself with me altogether and with no other. Why not give your whole attention to me, your true and only selfhood, instead of attempting to fix over or in any other way change the imperfect entity, which you are not? That which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the spirit is spirit. If one continues to identify himself with humanity, mentality, mortals, how does he ever expect to come into identification with that which he really is? Never can these two, spirit and the flesh, be reconciled. One is reality and truth, the other is unreality and falsehood. One is all, the other is not. These two, God and man, represent reality and dream. These two represent the true self and the personal. So long as one says yea to the personal, he is deprived of knowing and experiencing the self which I am. So long as one functions as the personal, pleading, imploring, affirming, denying, ever seeking to become at one with another, he is as one blind and cannot see. From eternity you are destined to know thyself. Eternally you are destined to say yea to the self and nay to the personality. You are destined to take the one and leave the other. Reader, are you now fulfilling your destiny, saying yea, yea, nay, nay? Furthermore, are you aware that whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil? Knowledge is possible to one only because in reality he is the truth. Healing is possible to one only because in reality he is the perfect self. Awareness is possible to one only because in reality he is the self-revealing light. Does one ask, how then shall I demonstrate the truth? This very instant, you, the self, are the truth and the demonstration thereof. Shall it take you more years and ages to come on to the understanding that I am the truth? Lay aside the thought, I have not yet realized the truth, I must go on seeking the truth. Truth is not to be reached. I am the truth. Right now your heart is hearing and echoing these very words, is it not? For instance, are you flesh or are you spirit? Are you student or are you truth? Are you free or are you bound? Are you of birth, age, limitation, and death, or are you the I, which is the life and the resurrection? You who read this, you alone must answer yea or nay. Are you to struggle, fear, and labor throughout your entire existence, or are you now the glorious self which is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent? Who are you, and what is your name and destiny? Answer thou me. Listen, he that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. He that believeth in me shall never die. Whosoever cometh to me I will in no wise cast out. He that is not with me is against me. Without me you can do nothing. Learn of me, accept me, know no other God but me. When you see me, you see God. I am me. Now who is this me but one's very self and being? Who then shall be saved? When one sees and accepts his true identity, then the false and unreal shall utterly vanish away. For when one wakens, can his dream continue? Verily, identified with one's true self, all things are possible. Therefore attempt no longer to grow into spirit, emerge or evolve into truth, no longer continue with the senseless practice of becoming or achieving. No, I am one, I am all. What I am now, I have always been. Not through any kind of learning nor unlearning, not through any action nor transaction can one ever become pure, become good, become perfect. I, the self of all, am free from time and history. I, the self of all, am free from birth and mortality, free from all necessity to attain, achieve, acquire, or become. Forever and ever, I am free, flawless, perfect. Man cannot become the light of the world. Have you not yet reached the time when no man can give to you? Verily, it is not in man that walketh to direct his path. Every man at his best state is altogether vanity. Therefore lay aside thoughts and emotions. Say nay to feeling of grief, jealousy, revenge, loneliness, criticism, worry, and fear. Take no thought, no feeling, no emotion. Whatever good it is you feel you need, then know I am it. Then shall be all taught of God. For instance, truth is not a book, a sermon, philosophy, or learning. I am the truth, and the truth is I. I am the truth, and the truth is. Reader, begin right now to say nay to all outgrown teaching pertaining to yourself as student, follower, image, idea, expression, reflection, man. Begin now to say yea, yea, nay, nay. Right now take yourself as you eternally are. Perfection. None of us will ever be satisfied with less than perfection. Perfection alone satisfies. What and where is perfection? Perfection is only in that which is indivisible. One can find perfection only when he comes face to face with that which is one and which is all. For instance, has you ever taken ideas such as perfect mind, everlasting life, or infinite spirit, and enjoyed their closeness beyond words? You may have received spiritual revelation about them, and for the time lost yourself in their reality, beauty, and glory. You may have been so perfectly satisfied and exalted as to happily exclaim, mind is all, life is all, spirit is all. Nevertheless, a time came when such satisfaction faded out and left you. Is this not so? Then you looked about again for another new idea, only later to discover the same result, satisfaction and glory for a limited time only. Just why is this so? Because perfection is irrevocably identified with completeness, with that which is self-contained. Finally, one must come face to face with that which is complete in itself. Not until then has he found perfection which satisfies. For instance, suppose we thought and talked about spirit exclusively. Then spirit would appear all to us, would it not? And if we concerned ourselves particularly with mind, then mind would become paramount to us. But neither spirit nor mind will completely satisfy anyone, because neither is complete, neither is all. Nothing but that which is all, that which is self-contained, will be sufficient to satisfy us eternally. Can you see this to be so? Spirit is not all, nor mind, or perfect life, nor perfect thought. None of these is self-complete. Hence none can or will give us the perfection which we crave. Even consciousness is not all. For there is also life, principle, truth. It must be, then, that we are to find that which is first, that in finding the first we shall have found the self-contained, then we shall have found perfection. Now, which is first, consciousness or life? Which is first, truth or principle? Which is first, spirit or love? You cannot say, can you? None can say, for none of these is first. In order to find that which is first, we must find the infinite. Only when we have found the infinite shall we have come to the first. When we have found the infinite, that which is indivisible and self-contained, then we shall have found completeness, allness, perfection. Only the infinite will ever completely satisfy anyone. When we have found the infinite, then we can bask, then we can rest. Just what and where is the infinite, you may be wondering, so that at last I shall find peace and rest, contentment, satisfaction. We shall now see. The Bible has a name for the eternal infinite. The Bible calls this divine sovereignty God. We read that God is all, God is infinite, God is first, there is none beside him. Such is the teaching. Yes, indeed it is so. Later in the new revelation, the mighty God, the everlasting Father, the truth of being, came upon this very earth declaring, I am the first. I am without beginning. Thus the sovereignty God of the Old Testament became known as I am in the New. I am the truth. I am the light. I am the life. Now who can say I? Reader, can you? Of course, can you say this without thinking of yourself or identifying yourself with it? When you say I, do you not refer to yourself? Well, of course you do. When you say I am, you are identified with your very self and being. Thus God, who is later seen to be I am, is finally found to be one's very self, one's own being. Only now do we come to that which is infinite, that which is self-contained, that which is perfect. It is I, it is oneself. Verily the I is sovereignty. When one finds this to be so, he walks in transparency, he walks in freedom. He has found the infinite, he has found completeness, he has found the perfection. Now he sees that I am spirit, I am life, I am principle. Now he understands that mind, separate from me or considered an entity by itself, will bless but will not satisfy. Love apart from me will never be everlasting nor complete, nor can life be found immortal except as I am. One can now learn about mind, principle, and spirit in a new way. He now studies them to discover more about his own being. No longer do they seem as subject outside of him, but identical with him, yea, his very own. At last, one comes face to face with himself as the I, which is first, which is sovereignty, which is self-contained, which is alone, which is all. The Indivisible One. There is no difference between oneself and I am. Everyone must at length fall back upon himself as his genuine and complete reality. To abide in the light, one must love his perfect selfhood above all else, above mind, above thought and body, above consciousness, principle, truth, above spirit, life. One must love the self above all, because the self is first and last. Even to dwell upon truth, for instance, is not to love the self above all, for one's thought and attention are being placed upon truth. And if one talks about divine mind, even though he is sincere, ardent, and zealous, still something is lacking, his word is not complete. Why is this so? Because there is no truth separate from the self. Thus, to consider truth to be a subject in and of itself is to be mistaken, not knowing that truth is one's very own, and oneself is the very truth. Moreover, to talk about divine mind, life, consciousness, and so on, as though each were complete in itself, is to see in part but not the whole. Therefore, complete satisfaction, complete peace are lacking and dimmed. Over and above all, yet including mind, spirit, truth, and principle, remains the infinite selfhood, which cannot be separated into categories, one mind, another principle, another truth, and so on. Here is one's complete reality, intact and at hand, the indivisible, one and all. The individuality which is of man shall be lost, but the individuality which is of the self shall be preserved forever. Whether Moses, Jesus, you, or anyone else said, I am the truth, only the I says it, only the I knows I am all. I am here as Moses, I am here as Jesus, I am here as Mary, John, and so on, infinitely, for I am the infinite, indivisible one. To the extent that one ceases to identify himself with man, mind, and body, does he perceive and understand infinite selfhood to be universally one, and individually all. There is no other. Who is Mary? Who is John? Who is James? Who is Martha? Verily I am all is I. Perfection is all is perfection. The one selfhood is all is the one selfhood. Is there any beside me? Yea, I know not any. There is no other, there is none else. Therefore any ignorant Mary, any sick John, and sinful James, any limited Martha is not present. Thou shalt consider none but me. Thou shalt believe in no other. Thou shalt be concerned with no other. Who is there to be seen beside me? Let each who reads this answer for himself. Remember, what thou seest, that thou beest. For instance, if one believes that he sees someone in ignorance, sickness, sin, or limitation, who then needs the help, the other or oneself? Oneself. So far as anyone is concerned with the problem, he need consider only his own consciousness. If there is but one selfhood, perfect and complete, let one ask himself, who then is sick? Who then is ignorant? Who then is sinful or in limitation? And what must the answer be? No one in God's perfect selfhood. After all, is it not far simpler and much easier to make any necessary correction in oneself rather than in another? How shall one proceed? First, take all attention from the form or entity named John or Mary. Next, enter into communion with yourself. Ask yourself questions and yourself will answer them. For instance, just what should I be seeing? The answer will be, is there anything or anyone to see but the real and the true? Then you may say, but what about John or Mary? And the self will answer, I am all there is of John. I am all there is of Mary. There is none but me. Ever, one's concern is only with himself, that he function only as the one and no other. The self is never in ignorance, never sick, never sinful, never in limitation, danger, or trouble of any kind. To you, to anyone, there must be no other self, no other name, form, or entity, such as a human or personal. According to the first commandment, oneself must be his complete reality. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Furthermore, according to the second commandment, one must see his neighbor to be the self-same one. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. He shall then think the truth about him. Thou art the self, the one and only selfhood. Thou art not man, ignorant, sick, sinful, or in lack. There is none but the infinite, indivisible one. Thou art that. I am the one whom another seeks when he looks to you. I am the one whom you seek when you look to another. I am the eye of Moses, the eye of Jesus, the eye of all true being. Before Abraham was, I am. O perfect self, O majestic, all-glorious self, O adorable, ever-dependable self, I and the self are one, ever and always one. The supremacy of the self. Verily, the glory of the self is experienced in its supremacy, since the glory of being the truth is not only in speaking the words of truth, but in expressing the power and supremacy thereof. The supremacy of the self is not only to be known and accepted, but also to be enacted and expressed. I, the Lord, do all these things. My being is my supremacy, and my supremacy is my being. My being is my completeness and fulfillment, and my completeness and fulfillment is my being. Supremacy is in me, and in me alone. Who am I? Who is me? You, where you stand, without one plea, without dependence upon personalities, thoughts, words, or things. If you are at all, you are the eternal I, the supreme me, the perfect and divine self. Let your supremacy reign. Be supreme. Reign supreme. Praise your wonderful, all-triumphant, all-victorious and majestic self. Glorify your wondrous being, your precious, everlasting life, your radiant, irresistible light. Your mighty and supreme wisdom, intelligence, and power. Glorify and praise your pure, luminous understanding and its supremacy thereof. I, the self, am the finished kingdom, the seamless robe, the one. I am the priceless glory, the great answer, the sufficient guide. I, the self, am God, who is all. I am the Word made flesh. I am the rose of Sharon, the lily of the valley, the bright and morning star. Where I am, there ye may be also. What I am, ye are also. Changing thoughts or regenerating humans shall never be sufficient to open blind eyes and deaf ears to perceive and hear the liberating ultimatum that nothing one can do in a false position will ever reinstate him in the real and true. Nothing can or ever will cause illusion to vanish except to function in one's true and absolute state. Here he has no consciousness of incompleteness. He is light. He is power. He knows the supremacy of the self. Choose ye this day. Continuously the world makes use of all the ways and means under the sun to promote and ensure the health, wealth, peace, and happiness of its people. But alas, as the centuries roll by, man changes not. From generation to generation he is subject to the same vicissitudes, the same tribulation, wars and failures, the same sin, sickness, and death. So long as one remains ignorant of his real identity and continues to lay claim to the fabulous and unreal, he must expect just what he is now reaping. What else can come from an assumptive human mind and body but imperfection, incompleteness, frailty, failures continually? Only as one is undeceived does he come into his own, aware of his true identity, the false assumptive entity, sometimes called the counterfeit, fades out of consciousness. The illustration of the lion cub who when lost thought he was a lamb holds good here. He could think, act, and feel as a lamb, but never could be actually one. As a lamb, he was afraid of dogs, timid of danger, and unable to bound over walls, out through the great open spaces and back into his native forest. Yet all was necessary that his situation be reversed was that he became aware of his real identity. Then lo, the lamb vanishes from belief, the only place it had any appearance at all. Today, lulled into sleep by the constant incorrect teaching, even by the elect, that we are man in need of constant reformation, the sleep becomes deeper and deeper and the senses duller and duller. Indeed, a world awakening needs to come even as an earthquake to shake open the graves where lie the dead in ignorance and delusion. For instance, comparatively few today are aware that the very Christ whom they proclaim is none other than their own selfhood, and that as he renounced all that had to do with flesh, mind, and man, so must we all. Just how can the Immaculate Conception bless and enrich anyone until he incorporates it into his own life as the Immaculate Concept? I am the truth, I am he. Truly, until one accepts himself to be the Immaculate One and no other, then like the lion lamb, he is deluded and deceived, and must suffer the consequence so long as the self-deception lasts. Could the lamb ever perceive its nothingness? No, neither can man today. Therefore an awakening must proceed, nor need it be through such terrible suffering as war brings. It can be as lovely as a sunrise or as gentle as the opening of a rosebud. Be receptive, dear one. Be willing to give up all teaching which pertains to you as man. Think, could man ever fulfill the injunction, be ye perfect and be ye holy? Impossible. Therefore give yourself no peace until you have settled the question in yourself, once and for all, whether you are the perfect one now or an imperfect man. Common sense, if not spiritual perception, should show you the inconsistency and incorrectness of the present-day teaching. For instance, just how can the crucifixion be understood until one sees that Jesus, challenging all allegiance to flesh and mortality, stood forth as life itself, the I Am invisible presence? Therefore renounce, crucify, and relinquish all doctrine that one can gain mastery, dominion, power, and glory in the name of man. It can never be. In my name they shall cast out devils, they shall speak with new tongues. If ye ask anything in my name, I will do it. In my name means identifying the I with the I Am, and not with man. If this light needs to strike us as lightning from heaven, then let it. Without delay turn from every system, every teaching, practice, or method which does not present the truth of being. I am that I am. The great mistake of the ages is the attempt to regenerate, purify, and redeem oneself as man. Husks, husks. These two, God and man, are the two in the field. The one shall be taken and the other left, so long as one continues in the belief that he is the personality. Instead of the perfect one, he must continue to search, seek, pray, and wait. I am the resurrection. Jesus identified himself with nothing in nor of the world. He illustrated and portrayed the way out of exile into reality, out of falsity into truth, out of bondage into freedom and light. Not seeing Jesus in his true light, how impossible for anyone to find his own reality, since Jesus emphatically stated, "No man cometh to the Father but by me." For this cause came I into the world, that I should bear witness to the truth. Every one that is of the truth heareth my voice. What is the truth? I am the truth. Right here, Jesus set aside the law and testimony of Moses that one is man, the image of God. Had this teaching been correct, certainly Jesus would have followed and taught it, would he not? Yet never did he intimate such a thing for himself or anyone else. Authoritatively he announced, "Verily, verily, Moses gave you not the bread from heaven. What then is the true bread from heaven? I am the bread of life. He that cometh to me shall never hunger." Who is I and who is me? None but one's real identity is true and only selfhood. When one is willing to cast out into oblivion, dust to dust, the assumed self, mind and body, automatically enters into his own resurrection and finds out the truth of being. Let today be the resurrection for you, from the old to the new, from the false to the true, and from the Moses teaching that we are the image of God to the self-revelation, I am the resurrection and the life. Our security. Where is our security? Where is our safety? Where is our protection? Indeed, how many ask these questions today? There is but one answer to them all. It is this: learn just what true prayer is, that it is true identification and self-revelation. I prayed and prayed unceasingly to the unknown God in the sky, but only the silence answered me and gave me no heed to my cry. I pleaded with such earnestness and ever wondered why. No message came to comfort me or tell me who am I. Then one day the voice spoke clearly. I am God, not man, it said. Eagerly my heart responded. All thought left me, reason fled. I am God, not man, I said. Here is where one's safety and protection, one's security and peace are and abide, in his own identity and reality, and nowhere else. The days of any other kind of knowing, any other kind of prayer are passing away. Too long already eyes have been closed to this astonishing revelation, lulled into accepting some other teaching instead. From this time forth, do not think nor talk about divine consciousness, mind, God, truth, unless you know that you are alluding to yourself. Spiritual practice is simple when it is known aright. Indeed, it is native to the self. But how complicated it becomes when appropriated by man. Of course, further and fuller revelation never comes and abides when the heart is honest, earnest, sincere, ready and willing to surrender whatever belongeth not to the self-revelation. Lo, I come, I am here. When once one discovers the I am the truth, just where I stand, he begins to lay aside all contrary thought and feeling and places himself beyond the reach of them. For instance, emotions are changes of feeling and never part of true being. When the truth of the statement is seen and accepted, one will turn from his emotion the same as from his thinking. Temperament, disposition, or moods are never to be accepted as real or true. Indeed, how often it is of more importance to set aside one's feeling than one's thinking. Criticism, regret, condemnation, resentment, disappointment, grief, and all similar feelings have no part in the world of the self. There is a state of thinking and feeling which is glorious, whole, pure, sound, and absolute. This is reality, the true substance of being. Here is where peace and security dwell. The self knows not contrary to peace, harmony, joy, and safety. This is the fact, the absolute, eternal reality, now and always. Can the self, who is love, light and truth, enter into warfare, or be subject to danger of any sort? Absolutely not. Then identify whom you will with this self and none other. As this self, see him safe, secure, and immune. Know within yourself that as the one, he is without fear, harm, or danger, for how could the self be in trouble? Identifying him with the one, you are certain that no evil shall come nigh him. He is safe, he is sound, he is secure. Identification. We are predestined and foreordained to know reality by being it, and in no other way to inspirationally discover that life is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be experienced here and now. The one supreme being is the self, being, life, mind, expression, and existence of everyone that is of God. Through rejection of all other false identification, to make absolute identification with and as the one, and the one alone, our faith, love, confidence, and trust spring from the heart spontaneously without thought, and triumphantly we enjoy the promised kingdom age, for the veil or covering false identification is taken away. In the realization of and experience in pure consciousness, which is life eternal, ineffable, and indescribable, we know that the fullness of God is a present presence. Love. How long the world has sought after true love, yet true love shall be denied until one is aware of his real identity and functions herein. For a lifetime, nearly all have lived and loved from the basis that one is man. However, none can arrive at perfect love from this mistaken viewpoint. Only to the extent that one places his affection upon perfect love as his only identity and being, shall he find true thought, true love, and true living. Every illumined one has been the love way to himself. Inevitably, everyone must be the same. Everyone must so love the genuine, the real, and the true, that it will be easy and natural to leave the suppositions, the deceptive and unreal. Therefore, whom shall one love first of all, and more than all else? Thou shalt love the Lord thyself, for the Lord is truly one's very own. Without supreme and transcendent love for oneself, how can one hope to ever entertain such love for his neighbor? As the perfect one, the pure and perfect consciousness, one's thoughts are perfect. His desire and his love are perfect also. In fact, only as the one shall ever be able to love perfectly and truly, and in such a way that never can there be any misunderstanding, dissatisfaction, separation, or divorce. Ever declares the self, only my love is perfect, only my love is complete. Only my love fully satisfies. Only my love is without interpretation, separation, or misunderstanding of any kind. Let no one expect perfect love in any other way. How hungry, how weary, how limited all are until they disentangle themselves from humanity and claim the pure and perfect consciousness to be theirs by divine right. Only as the real and the perfect are all things possible. Only as the truth and the life shall perfect love, perfect happiness, and perfect living be known and experienced. Look not outside the self for love, happiness, or companionship, nor consider perfect love as something you should seek to obtain in order to have and enjoy. Anything that one seeks, desires, or longs for is based upon the false supposition that he is without it at the present time. This misconception prevents his awareness of it. Let one learn that he is self-complete and self-supplying. Let him recognize, claim, and acknowledge his possession of love and happiness to be present, intact, and at hand, knowing that one answer alone will suffice, namely, happiness is not in, of, or from any God as outside or within, but inheres in one's own identity as the indivisible, universal one. He who searches in quest of love and happiness, harmony and peace, finds endless searching. In fact, anything one does in the way of thinking, feeling, or acting to become the perfect keeps him in ignorance and darkness. Do you say that you know the truth, but you cannot prove it or bring it out in your experience? Is experience something other than the truth? Is the self one thing and experience another? Let go the belief, I have not proven, I am not experiencing, I cannot demonstrate. For the knowledge, I and my experience are one. I am self-contained and self-supplying. One need not go after anything, neither happiness nor wealth, neither love nor peace. Need one seek for that which he is? Whatever it is he believes he needs, then let him understand, I am it. I, the self, have all. Love is not some mental or spiritual system of thought-taking whereby to produce certain desirable conditions in experience. No, one's world is not separate from himself. Perfect and complete good, love, power, and satisfaction can never be found anywhere except in one's own being. This, therefore, explains the statement, I am the way. Today many look up, other out, and still others within, toward a being called deity, divine mind, the Christ. Earnestly they practice worship, right thinking, meditation. Indeed, how much time and effort are spent in such manner, instead of saying with Jesus, I myself am the way, the truth, and the life. Verily, the law of beseeching prayer, right thinking, union with Christ, is passed away in the enlightened understanding that I am the perfect self here and now and always. Where is the love which never faileth to satisfy, to understand, to cherish, and to forever endure? Certainly not in personalities, human being, nor man. Love that is perfect, love that is complete, love that is pure and spotless, love that is imperishable and eternal, is none other than the one selfhood of all. The only reason why harmony, peace, happiness, and every other form of good seem unstable, conditioned, impermanent, and insecure is because they are sought where they cannot be found, that is, outside the self, whereas oneself contains and includes all. Love is not conditioned by nor contingent upon anyone or anything. Neither is love some specific form of thinking, living, or doing. Love cannot be put on as one would select a new garment, nor is it to be thought about as barter, exchange, bargain, or some commercial enterprise. Love is the undefiled and undefilable. Love is principle, and principle is love. Love is life, and life is love. Verily, love is I, and I am love. Living Waters, when one said, I am the truth, he should be ready to accept the sacredness of this statement and be willing to fulfill the requirements thereof. As a mere mental declaration of the fact, this statement will yield little or no dividends. Indeed, one will find it wisdom not to be a mouthpiece for me unless he is prepared to live and act in harmony with me. Let each one who reads this decide within himself just how ready and willing he is to leave all and follow me. Is it not mockery for one to repeat the words and claim the rights of the self while still unwilling to fulfill the requirements thereof? Verily, verily, one's realization of reality and true being should come from the depth of the heart, and never be used as mere mental remedy of relief. How easy for one to say that he has put his mind upon a thing, whereas the spiritual requisite is that everything be done from the heart. To be of any genuine value, spiritual understanding must have its roots deep in the heart, for the heart is the entire center from which all inspiration springs. For instance, unless a book is written from the heart, it has no spiritual foundation or appeal, thus gives no lasting benefit to anyone. Whereas written from the heart, it blesses everyone ready to receive it. Ever heart speaks to heart. What must be surrendered? Deception, sleep, ignorance, dream. How shall one make such surrender? First of all, give the heart over to obtaining knowledge and light. Let love and desire for enlightenment and truth be supreme in one's affection and aims. For instance, how futile any attempt to control one's thoughts otherwise. Never can anyone successfully fight them, resist them, overcome them, push them away, nor run from them. And why is this? Because by any of these efforts he ignorantly places reality and power in a mind which has no existence at all. Why does wrong thinking or discordant feelings sometimes continue in spite of one's earnest spiritual realization? One must know that such does not exist at all in the God Self. Such thinking and feeling persist only because the complete identification has not yet been fully made and sustained. In the interval, or until one functions more fully from the state of awareness, let him learn that discord of any and every kind is self-deception. Therefore his release is not at all in the control of wrong thought or discordant conditions as it seems, for these inhere in the deception. He himself must be set right. He must be undeceived and have his eyes open to the fact. There is no alternative. Thus it was that Jesus aptly and plainly stated, "Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." One's only true escape and deliverance from distress, discord, sorrow, or limitation of any kind is to seek enlightenment, knowledge, truth. It is then he comes face to face with himself as he really is. Enlightened and awakened, he sees things in their true light. Deception and ignorance vanish, and the thoughts therein and thereof are blotted out. Then harmony reigns here and now and always. Reality. The Bible gives the history of man, his beginning and end. Man is made of dust, and to dust shall he return, even as the Bible states. Let this fact be clear and certain to you. Deliverance from destruction is never promised man. In fact, plainly and precisely, Christ Jesus foretold the calamities and desolation to befall those who persist in remaining identified with man. Yet even to this day, full deliverance and lasting salvation is offered every one ready and willing to accept peace, security, wholeness, and happiness in the Christ way, by understanding oneself to be divine and not human, God and not man. Jesus taught none of the usual present-day beliefs and ideas relative to one's identity. Thus the great need today that his teaching be correctly interpreted, taught, and understood. Only then shall spiritual practice be built upon reality and truth. The premise of Christ Jesus is, I myself am the truth. I and the Father are one. Dearly beloved, God and man can never be one. So be released from all such grossly mistaken teachings and belief. When Jesus claimed oneness, he was not speaking from the basis of man, but of the I, or perfect self. Never can one's burning desire to realize his oneness with the infinite be granted until he ceases to consider himself man. Of course, I and the Father are one, but this I is not man. Seest thou this? Ever I am I. Whom say ye that I am? I am the light, I am the truth, I am he, I am I, and not man. The present-day teaching that we are man, the image and likeness of God, is based wholly upon the Old Testament. The gospel of Jesus Christ completely transcends and cancels it. Yet how strange that today the world is still asleep, entirely overlooking and disregarding the vital import of Jesus' message, revealing our identity to be the very same as his own. To be ready to let go of ignorance and darkness admits one to understanding and light, and to be willing to feast wholly upon the genuine and real releases one from the superimposed and unreal. Then, and then only, has one the right to think and declare, I and the Father are one. I am God and not man. Feeding upon this living bread from heaven yourself will be reality to you, and you will see and believe, you will hear and understand, you will know and live. And it will be as though you walked up and down over the face of the whole earth, saying, I am come, I am here, the living truth. The end. This audio presentation of Who Am I by Lillian DeWaters has been brought to you by audioenlightenment.com. Copyright 2014. All rights reserved.